just got to kick sport off by saying a happy Good Friday and a very happy Easter to all our viewers out there on Good Morning Geelong. This time of year always brings up the Good Friday debate and whether sport should be played on one of the most sacred religious days of the year. An interesting piece was actually written in one of our local papers by Geelong footballer James Kelly, and in which he said that there's been so many changes in the AFL recently that playing football on Good Friday might not be a positive move, and that the debate that it causes could just create a very interesting religious debate, as I said, and it might turn out that it isn't a positive thing for the AFL, although it has been tipped that crowd numbers could rise, but a very interesting one to see and one that's going to come up over the next few years around this time of year in the AFL. In good news from Skilled Stadium, ruckman Brad Ottens, who went down with a knee injury, is likely to only miss 2 to 4 weeks after the strain was found to only be grade 1. So very good news for the Cats there. One of their premier ruckmen, Brad Ottens, likely to be back within 2 to 4 weeks, in positive news for the Cats. In local football news, which will continue this weekend with a full round of BFL and one game in the split round of the Geelong Football League, South Barwon started off positively with an upset victory over raging hot premiership favourite St Mary's. The South Barwon boys had been tipped to slip a little down the GFL ladder after creating a dynasty over the last 2 or 3 years, but the Swans showed that they're no spent force by making St Mary's, last year's premiers, look fairly ridiculous out there at McDonald's Reserve. So St Mary's will be aiming to bounce back when they come back in a couple of weeks after they have the Easter break off, and South Barwon looking to take that form. As I said, a split round in the GFL, and the one game this weekend is between Lara, who have unfortunately lost one of their assistant coaches to a season-ending injury, and Newtown and Chilwell. They will take on the Cats this weekend. So best of luck to both of those sides. Down on the BFL, there was good news for the Geelong Amateurs and Queenscliff. Queenscliff starting off their season with a monumental 231-point victory over Newcombe. So not great news for the Power there. Very tumultuous off-season for them, and they just didn't kick it off in style at Grinter Reserve. There was some positive news coming out of the President's Lunch, though, with Ian Webb saying that there was a possibility that Newcombe 3 weeks ago would not have had a side. So positives for the Power in that they have put a team on the park, but to lose by so much against Queenscliff, who are going to be an improved side in the BFL this season, I guess is not what they were looking for in round one. As I said, the Amateurs, very positive news again for the white-hot premiership favourites in the Ballerine, defeating Anglesea down at Dave Harding over by 120 points. Those two sides will be one of the highlights of the BFL round 2 this weekend when they meet down at Queenscliff. The other games from the Ballerine this weekend will see Barwon Heads travelling down to Anglesea, another home game for Anglesea. They'll be looking to bounce back, as I said, on that loss against the Geelong Amateurs last weekend. Port Arlington and Mottawarri both needing a win to kick off their winning ways this season, down at Port Arlington this weekend. So that's going to be a very interesting game to watch. Two sides that won last weekend and should be pushing for finals. Drysdale and Ocean Grove also meet, and then Newcombe taking on Torquay rounds out the BFL. So a big round of BFL to watch there with no GDFL this weekend in local footy. The good news from the GDFL was for Bannockburn, though, last weekend, a resounding win over Corio. Corio were a little bit underdone, had to play 6 of their kids that actually played under-18 football in the morning before the game. So an unfortunate situation there for Corio, but Peter Accardi booting 5 goals in a positive start to his career out at Bannockburn. We're moving on to cricket, where Damien Shanahan has signed on in positive news for the Geelong Cats. He will skipper the Cats and coach them again next season in the Premier League. Obviously, it wasn't the finish the Cats were looking for this season, sitting second at the midway point of the season. They fell away after Christmas, ended up being bundled out in the first week of finals the thirds progressing to the second week, but couldn't get it done at the quarter-final stage. So Shanahan actually came out and said, after he did sign on, that the club will be looking to push through a number of the talented juniors which he has seen throughout the Geelong region. So guys like Michael Condy and Reece Burke, who played a little bit of twos cricket and a lot of threes cricket this season, might see themselves with the opportunity to play in the Geelong first 11 next year, which is definitely a positive step which the Cats are taking. The news is also good that Liam Buchanan and Travis Agg have stayed on as assistant coaches for the club. Agg captaining the seconds this season, and Buchanan playing a pivotal role in the first 11's success up until obviously they were bundled out in that first week of finals. In local soccer news, there was some positive news for a few clubs and some negative news, unfortunately, for a few of the clubs. Geelong Rangers were one of the clubs that had some positive news come out. A 4-1 win for them. Dean Corey and Daniel Early scored the first 2 goals of that 4-1 win. So very good result there for Geelong Rangers. North Geelong lost 1-0, though, unfortunately, to a 10-man Williamstown. So not a positive result there for Newtown. Geelong and Corio also lost heavily. So Geelong they just can't seem to get their act together. Obviously, they had another club that had a tumultuous off-season, and they'll be hoping that hopefully they can put some results together over the next few weeks and get themselves back on track. Same case there with Karai, but Bell Park winning 4-1. So a good result there for the Geelong clubs in Bell Park. And the local competition, which features sides such as Barwon Heads, Ballerine Sharks, is likely to kick off within a few weeks. The GRFA is set to make a decision on that competition in a few weeks. So stay tuned for that here on the Sports News of Good Morning Geelong. We go back to the TAC Cup, though. The Geelong Falcons opening their season with a 47-point win over Bendigo. They let the Pioneers in late in the game. Geelong had led by as much as 10 goals at one stage. So a very brilliant start there for the Geelong Falcons. Their coach, Gary Hocking, was very pleased after the game, highlighting a number of players, one of which was Lara's Alan Christensen. He's started the season brilliantly, and he's one that's already put his name up for a draft selection at the end of this season. So Alan Christensen, definitely a name to watch for, and we will be keeping you up to date with all the Geelong Falcons news here on the Sports Bite of Good Morning Geelong. In basketball news from Geelong, the Supercats also won last weekend, 100-97 at the arena. Nathan Herbert scoring 12 points on his return. Herbert obviously playing a role in the South Dragons' success in the NBL. So good to have him back in Supercats colours, and hopefully that will mean more success for the Supercats over the next few weeks. The Rip Curl Pro has also been going on down this week, and well done to all the surfers who participated in that event at Bells Beach. And finally in sports news this week, Beckley Park will receive a $4.6 million upgrade. The Greyhound Centre out there is going to look much better after work is done out there.
Cats coach Mark Thompson was asked during the week if he thought Collingwood would pick a support ruckman for Josh Fraser.
Well, they've got a few obviously choices to make, whether they play Rocker. They chose not to play him last week. He played out here 70% of the game, so he might come in and they might play the second ruckman. I really can't tell you what they're going to do, but I know that they have options, and we're sort of planning for whatever happens. We'll be ready for.
Thompson was a little bemused by the question if his side had pulled up well given the 5-day break.
Most of the players have pulled up well, but there's some that haven't, but I can't tell you their names. Okay. I'm sorry. Thanks.
From Skilled Stadium to Shell Reserve, where one of Bomber Thompson's past players, Peter Riccardi, was playing for Bannockburn in the black and gold. We pick up play at the start of the last quarter.
Handball to a standing start, Van Ingen. Off centre half back, goes wide, looking for Perkins. Dean doesn't sit for him in the first occasion, but it does in the end. Cleary attacks him, does well, holds on to him. He gets the kick away though, under pressure. Coming, good mark. No, not paid to O'Shannessy. And now coming across the pack is Laurie. He's wrapped up, not going anywhere close to the boundary line. And the umpire will come in and ball it up. 55 out from the Bannockburn goal in front of the club rooms.
Bannockburn's just isolated their two big men in the forward 50. That's a scary sight for any team, I would have thought.
Ball up now and down to the side of the pack. Was that a hold? Too high, said the umpire. So in the last line of defence for Corio now. We'll try and drive it out. Gets the lead from Hayes. Goes short though to Barry O'Toole in the back pocket. Takes the mark. Chips the ball over to centre half back. Fitch takes the mark.
Oh, go son, you're away.
Turns around. Waits for Drake to stand on the mark.
Finally got a kick.
And handballs it away quickly to Ruck. Now it goes with the right foot towards centre wing. Keys up against Perkins. Good punt over the shoulder, said the umpire. Hold. And Keys will held on to by Bliss as he ran past. But Hayes, his direct opponent, got the ball. Goes towards Ricky O'Toole. Good kick, good mark. Played for 50. Did he get one in the head?
He did cop one, but wasn't much in it, but he still copped it.
He'll kick the goal anyway, probably. Ricky O'Toole has kicked 2 goals this afternoon. And the start the Devils would want. Kicking from 45 metres out, slight angle.
The game's gone for Corio, obviously, but I think if they can just stop the bleeding, reduce that percentage, it shouldn't be all too bad for them.
He comes in now, right foot kick, good off the boot, straight through the middle.
Nice looking kick.
So Ricky's 3rd of the afternoon and the 10th for the Devils.
Up against Dorber. Ball thrown in the air. Stewart favoured by the throw. Taps it nicely back to Lazarix to O'Toole. And Barry O'Toole now steps out of the centre, goes wide, finds Keys. He doesn't collect the ball nicely there. He's sort of waited for the ball to pop up to him. Picked up there by Perkins. Kicked out of the hands. Keys has done well. He's held the ball up for a little while, but numbers have paid out. And
we hope you've enjoyed this, the 26th edition of Good Morning Geelong. We'll be back again at the same time next week on C31.
Kick to O'Toole in the pocket. And Ricky O'Toole has taken the mark.